Welcome to Comedyinz podcast, a subsidiary of Zevon and the Piglets, Pittsburgh's premier comedy conglomerate. That's right. Me and my piglets, we make people laugh from Homestead to Bellevue.
Comedyinz podcast by day, train by night.
Train by night.
All day, all night.
Day.
That's what I mean. Is that what the noise a train makes?
No.
Is a train not just a motorcycle with a bunch of seats? Oh, chugga. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah. Zevon, who do we have on the pod with us today?
We have the inimitable Trevor Austin. Trevor, do you have a middle name? Uh-oh.
I don't know if I want to expose this.
Fair enough. Okay. Is there a...
Austin is my middle name.
Ah.
Yeah.
Holy cannoli.
Boom, dude.
All right, okay.
Wait, is your last name really Don Lasagne?
Yes.
Don Lasagna?
Don Lasagna.
That's crazy. Who would have thought? Trevor? Okay.
Who knew?
Well, actually, what made you not do the first name, last name?
Have you ever heard some of the stuff I say
that
on
is correct.
stage?
Actually, if I thought about it for 2 fucking
Yeah, dude,
seconds.
the
that's
people
fair.
from Twitter will show up in my front yard. You know,
Fucking
so,
picket fences.
Yeah.
No.
I thought it was just because you're from the South.
Yeah.
No, he's part of the Comedians Anonymous program.
Yeah, that's a veiled way to put it, from the South.
I'm a comedian, and my name is Stevon Vasquez. Hi, Stevon. No, Trevor, while we have you on, we're interested in something that you do, which is stand-up, but specifically, we're interested in, you play the guitar when you're on stage. You play the guitar and and sing songs.
Yeah, that's how I started.
Okay.
If it weren't for musical comedy, I would have quit.
Really?
Yeah, for sure, because I was bombing mercilessly.
With just written stuff.
Yeah, dude, so bad.
Mhm.
And like, because that's, everybody goes through that, but I'm the type of person that if I'm not good at something right away, like, I give up, you know?
Mhm.
And so I went out a couple times. I got some like one-liner stuff to work, but like watching it back was just like, it's not what I wanted to project. It was just like, this is so bad. Like, I can't even think of where to start.
Did you, so the first songs that you wrote, were those like based off of any of the first jokes that you wrote, or?
Okay, so my act when I first started, this is kind of wild to like,
Reminisce.
to recollect now, because I've transitioned into I've transitioned into
That's why you
God.
don't say your last name.
There you go.
Those people will be asking you.
His last name is his dead name.
Yeah, I'm talking about my dead act.
Trevor Austin,
This
Dorothy.
is my dead act. But I started out where I would go on stage with absolutely nothing prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I would bring the guitar, and I would point to people in the crowd, and I would say, "What do you want to hear a song about?" And I would collect like 4 words, blend it into a song, make it rhyme, pepper in a joke off the top of my head. And I sometimes am tempted to do that again because it was such a fun challenge.
And people really like that, I'm sure.
And it's just like a party trick I would do, like drinking with friends in high school. Like, it's just what I've always done that. So that's never difficult for me to do. I feel real comfortable and confident doing it. And it started to crush. So I was really, really hesitant to do it because I was like, musical comedy, like, that's so hack. I hate that. Like, I want to be in the crew of guys who hate that. You know?
When I first started doing comedy, the first thing my mom said was, "Are you gonna play the piano?
Yeah.
You gonna go up and play the piano for the people?" And I was like, "No, Ma, I can't."
Yeah, and
I
your
can't."
face says it all on why I didn't want to do musical comedy, because it's like there's a cringe element to it to me.
Yeah.
I will say, audiences always love it. I get huge responses.
Oh, yeah.
It gets me booked on gigs. Like, when I'm booked on stuff, people expect me to bring it. I often get messages from people like, "Hey, that show on the 23rd, you're bringing the guitar, right?"
Nice.
And I'm like, yeah. And
Please, God, bring the guitar. Please.
I've got it down to a point where the act is about 50-50. So like 50% telling jokes, 50% doing a couple songs, and depending on how long I'm up there, you know.
Well, you said earlier, so actually this is kind of an open question. Why, because we kind of take it for granted people hate musical comedy, but like, why is that? Like, why do people, what do you
People
think
don't
people
hate
like
musical
it?
comedy. Comics hate musical comedy.
That is,
Yes.
okay,
That is so much.
Why do
Yeah.
comics hate musical comedy?
Well, because it looks easier. It works so well, and you're not doing anything profound. Like, I'm up there singing these. Have you ever seen my musical act? Yeah. There's nothing fucking bright about it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and then you'll go up with something you worked really hard on. You might get not a great response or sometimes no response, and then you'll watch this idiot go up there and be like, wow, everybody loves that.
Yeah,
but that's
it
a
feels
bother.
cheap.
It is
yeah.
cheap.
Yeah,
For
it's
me,
cheap.
I always think like the reason why I don't like I'm a pretty good pianist. The reason why I never wanted to delve into musical comedy was I just felt like it was kind of like a finished genre. Like to me, like
everyone had done everything.
Bo Burnham, I think, especially piano type stuff, took it to its logical conclusion. And like, what else is there to even do? Like, you could do things that
And
are.
it gets old being told, oh my God, you remind me so much of
Yeah.
Bo Burnham. I hear it so much.
That must be fucking
literally,
nice.
I saw
Asshole.
Marsha Belsky at the at Bottle Rocket, and she had to put in her act where people were commenting. Like, she did a whole section where she did comments that people put up, and there were so many that were just like, "Oh my God, you're just like Bo Burnham," and like, it's kind of like he's the king of that.
Well,
and
in some ways, it would be flattering.
I mean,
Like,
yeah,
he is a really
but
talented guy, but yeah, it's.
I had that kind heckler last time we did the Sharpsburg show at 446, and she yelled out in the middle of a punchline. This girl was so drunk, she ruined my set. And she yelled out in the middle of my song I was doing, she yells out, "Modern day Bo Burnham." And
my God.
I had nothing to say back, but I was just like, Bo Burnham is of present times.
He's very
Yeah,
much still
yeah.
active.
and he's younger than I am.
Yes,
You know, it's like,
Well,
none of that makes
the
sense.
historical figure, Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
Oh, remember Bo? Remember Bo before he.
yeah,
But when I started doing comedy, part of why I was so hesitant to do this, the musical thing, was because it's not what I pictured. Like, I always had this image of myself doing comedy and what it would look like
Who did
and
you
how
grow
it
up
would
watching?
feel. Handful of different people. It's strange because it's like the first ones I saw when I was like, I think the first special I ever saw was Jim Brewer.
Really?
Yeah, on Comedy Central's when they used to do those
Like
half-hour
Presents,
things.
yeah,
Comedy
yes.
Central Presents.
That's how I found Patton Oswalt.
And I was young, man, and I thought what he was doing was so freaking funny. And he does like pretty family-friendly stuff that is just hilarious and like high energy. And but that was never what I wanted to emulate, you know. And then I was bombing, starting to get a couple one-liner things to work, but it wasn't what I had in mind. I was like, and I was ready to quit. It was really frustrating. And then Adam Sandler's Netflix thing came out, the 100% Fresh. Do you guys remember that? He did that like really sweet tribute to Chris Farley at the end. It was
Yes, it was
just
very
phenomenally done.
Yeah.
A lot of people criticized it because, again, musical shit, you know?
Yeah.
But like for what it was, and I was sitting at home watching it, and I was like, I feel like I could do this pretty easily to me because like it's musical comedy. If you play an instrument and you're funny, like, it's kind of not that difficult to put something together.
That's true.
So I went out to Parkway on a Friday night. This is way before I
Name
hosted
drop.
it. Yeah, way before I was the host there.
Trevor is the host of Parkway Theater Comedy on Fridays at 9
McKees
p.m.
Rocks.
Co-hosted with Corey Henderson, everyone's
And,
favorite neo-Nazi. Sorry.
Jesus. So all are welcome at the mic. Just make that clear. But yeah, and it went so much better than I could ever imagine. I still have on an old phone video from that, and it's really funny to watch my face.
Really?
Because I'm like stunned at how hard people were laughing,
That's kind of
dude.
cute, actually.
People were clapping, laughing, like cheering, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I had just gone off this like horrible set the night before of doing stupid one-liners, and was like, "Whoa, I think I might be onto something." Leaving that night, I got booked on 2 shows, and I was like weeks into this, and I was like, "Okay, so I guess the guitar stays," you know. And then I kind of got pigeonholed into just musical comedy. I talked to Mike Travers, who's the best musical comedian in the city. That
Mike
guy's
Travers.
fantastic, dude. If you get a chance to see him, he works at the Improv pretty frequently. They book him, but I talked to him about it. We did a show together, a couple things, and I asked him what, you know, just picking his brain. He said, what I really wish I would have done was worked more on my stand-up. Because I don't need to practice the music thing. I can just get up and do it.
Technical.
It worked the first time I ever tried it. So I can just do that anytime. So that was really pivotal for me to realize, like, the goal is still stand-up, like traditional stand-up. And the better I get at that, the music is just a tool at that point.
That makes sense.
But it seems to a certain extent you feel a bit pigeonholed by music, and that's why you are a little bit hesitant to pick up the guitar sometimes on a given show.
Well, it's an interesting thing because then it leads to this question of like, why do you do comedy? Do you do it for audience reaction? And I used to think that was kind of it. Like, I want the praise and adulation, and it's not it. because if that was it, I would do the music every time and love it because people really, really respond to it. Man.
Yeah, you got to give God all the glory.
Yeah, 100%. You do it. Everything you do is for Christ. But
My piglets love Christ.
secondary, like from a selfish, in the flesh point of view, do I do it for that? Like, it's an interesting question of like, why do you do stand up? It's not for audience reaction for me because if it was, I would just do the music because people really, it's uncomfortable how much people like it. They come up after every time I do it and they say, "Oh my God, that was so great!" And I'm just like, ugh, it makes me uncomfortable. So it's not that. And the real reason I got into stand-up, I think about this all the time, is, was it for adulation? Was it because I felt like called to do it because I've always felt funny and I love the fucking sound of other people's laughter?
Yeah.
Like, not from an audio perspective, like, it does something physically to me. So not just being on stage and hearing it, like, I can be at Exxon buying fucking cigarettes and making that person laugh. Like, that feeling and connection is, to me, like, it's almost spiritual, you know? Like, that is such an awesome thing to see someone laugh. It's like the height of joy is laughter, you know what I mean? And I love it so much. You go on deep psychological things and say it's because I was a youngest child and, like, the only time I felt like my family was safe is when people were laughing. I mean, like, there's all kinds of things to it. So, like, yeah, to hear the sound of laughter, could that be why I started? There's a lot of different things, but one element for sure of why I started and why I don't quit, it was to make friends. Like, I love that aspect of it. Hang out with other comics. Like, the 5 minutes on stage at an open mic don't mean dick to me. Yeah. But, like, the 2 hours of sitting around, smoking cigarettes, talking shit with everybody, like, that has saved my life in a lot of ways.
It's the easiest way I found as an adult to make friends. Because you get out of college, you get out of your 24. I mean, that's honestly when so many people start doing. You ask, like a new person, like, well, how old are you? Most of them are, like, 24. Yeah. They've been out of school for, like, 2 years. They work in a job they hate. And they, like, no connections, and they're like, this is like a last ditch resort. I mean, that was kind of it for me. I was just like, I moved back to Pittsburgh. I pissed off all the friends who still lived here, and I was like, I need a new social milieu to get into. So I started heckling.
That was honestly the difference for me between, like, being in Denver and Pittsburgh. Was that in Denver I felt like really isolated in it. I was just showing up. I wasn't really talking to anybody. And then here, because I started talking to people. It was Zevon that talked to me at the first mic. Hello. Great first friend there. But I don't know. Like, it's what keeps you coming back is, like, that, like, crowd of people that you know are going to be there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, bro, you were like, it's the easiest way to make friends. You can make friends anywhere. It's the best place to make friends who don't suck.
Yes. They are the most non-judgmental, like, cool fucking people.
Comedy it has authenticity built in. Yeah. Like, you're gonna fucking go up there and talk about your dick for 20 minutes and then come over here and pretend like, oh, I'm not a very sexual being. Like, no, I just heard you say that. Like, I've done the homework on you right now. You just gave me a lecture on you.
Like, we're not, like, trying to be, like, cool people at this point when you start doing comedy. Like, you're bombing all the time.
It's
like,
one of the most embarrassing things you could do.
Yeah,
it's mortifying.
We're all in that together, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the willingness to embarrass yourself is such an overlooked tool in comedy. Because you got to take some chances, and like when you find one that works, go with it, you know. But like, I don't think people understand that, especially like when you start to get some things put together and you start to do well. People don't see that, like, I had to really humiliate myself to figure this out.
Yep.
Like, there's nothing more. I can't even think of many feelings more uncomfortable than bombing. Hard in front of an attentive audience.
And it's totally different from, like, other art forms because you get to practice your instrument at home. You get to do all the squeaky, scratchy shit by yourself. Yeah. But comedy, you also have to do that in front of people. Like, there's no part of stand-up. I mean, you have to write, you have to rehearse, whatever. But, like, really, the actual work, you got to it's right in front of people, and they can watch it happen in real time.
That's why open mics are the exercise of stand-up comedy.
Bro, I've spent huge portions of, like, doing this where I'm strictly writing on stage at that point. You know, like, there's no sense in writing it at home because what I think is funny is dark and crazy and twisted. So, like, this is going to crush, and then it just won't because it's insane. It only crushes in the mirror. But so I just write on stage and be like, what do you guys want, you know?
100%. Yeah, some of I think my best written jokes, I go up, I execute them 100% to my like internal vision, and I get like the most blank, quasi concerned stares from 40-year-old women. Like, people actually think like this? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I first started, I would write out every single word of the joke because I thought like all of that mattered so much. And I mean, those jokes like worked, but I wasn't able to like read a room as part of that. And then as I got like farther along, now I'll have like a few key points. Like I have like maybe like a
Yes.
punch I'm going to try, but like let's try to just talk about the topic
Yeah.
and kind of see what happens. But yeah.
Well, and then there's a big difference between like bar comedy, club comedy, arena comedy, which none of us know dick about. You know, theater comedy. There's such a difference because like in a bar or a small room, like there has to be a level of intimacy and connection.
Yeah.
When you get into like a bigger room or even like club settings, oftentimes every word does matter because you're not really like, there's lights in your eyes. You're not making eye contact with the people.
True.
So now that style of comedy becomes less conversational and more rehearsed might work better in that setting.
100%.
Yeah.
That was the difference between my two shows last night.
Yeah.
Was the one I was like trying to like make eye contact. Somebody told me like to find a person in the room and just like deliver the punchline to them. But I just kept looking around. It was Yvonne. He just raised his eyebrows at me. But I
Name drop.
kept
Oh my
trying to
God.
do that. But like there was something like not present about that performance. And I was just trying to like do it. And I just felt like, I don't know, it was so close up. And then I went to arcade and it's like lights in your face. And like, I think there was one lady on the front row who like bent over laughing at one point and I like said stuff to her, but that was the only thing I had to interact with them. And it was just totally different because I could just run my full set.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's where I'll say each one of you guys are better than me at because when like I can't perform with lights in my eyes. Like I have to engage
if
hard
I'm-
with people.
I fucking love I love not being able to see a single person.
That's crazy to me.
I love not being able to see my fucking shoes. It's so bright.
Damn.
I think it depends though. Like if I'm testing new stuff, like I've tried to do newer stuff at like Bottle Rocket where they put the lights in your eyes.
I love Bottle
that
Rocket.
hurts because then you're just doing it to silence. Like if people are disappointed, I want to see their faces, but if they're loving it, I don't want to see it. It's really weird. Like I just want to hear you. I just want to know you're there. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
I need full connection, dude. Like it's the opposite of how I have sex. I want eye contact. But like,
Nope. I don't want to bag over any of my audience's head.
No.
Well, so this is something I wanted to talk about with this gangle of people, because you brought up bar, show, and then to arena. I mean, obviously none of us are arena, but like I'm the newest to comedy. I'm about hitting my 1 year anniversary doing comedy.
Very nice.
And it just amazes me the secondary layer of people that you guys all know and how you make those connections. Because I'm still at the point where like, I've done a show or two, but I mainly the people I know in stand-up comedy in Pittsburgh, they go to the open mics. But then go to a venue, somebody knows the GM or like these secondary figures in comedy. And it's like I don't even have any feelers to be able to connect.
Who to
Like,
talk to. that
how
kind
did
of
you
thing.
guys get into that pipeline? Because obviously, like Trevor, you said like you started just at bars doing the musical comedy, and then from there you.
Who booked you on those two, if you can say?
one of them was that story's nuts. One of them was Krish Mohan. You guys remember?
Oh,
him?
yeah.
Okay, and we have such conflicting styles and conflicting
Yes, you
audiences.
do.
But I was recommended to him, and he put me on there. Zach Sipley, the old host of the Parkway, like put my name in some people's ears. Who the hell would the other one have been?
If you can't remember, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was probably just some like random brewery show.
Krish has been doing it for a while. Krish, to those who don't know, is a Pittsburgh comic he's been doing it for like 10 years now ish.
He's a mystery to me, dude. I mean, I remember he was here and then he was gone, and he releases a special every 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, he's a good comic. I know he's good friends with Derek. They do D&D, but yeah, he's part of kind of like that like older group of Pittsburgh comedians who have been doing it forever. And he's good.
Yeah.
How long? I guess it's just we didn't ask this, but how long have you been doing stand up?
Well, that's a whole thing. Because it's interesting, that networking piece that you talk about. Like, one thing that you do is time. Just like over time, people will know you. You'll know people. You know us.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah,
you said,
yeah.
we're starting to meet people who are in that secondary level of people. Well, how do you think we met them? Because I met somebody who knew them.
True.
You know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know
True,
us,
true.
you'll know
Yeah.
them. You know, I started, I want to say late 2019. I also then pandemic took time away. Went to rehab. You guys know all that,
Yeah.
So there were big chunks of it that I wasn't performing. So it's like it's weird. Like it's been 4 years, but it's also kind of been 2 because I've taken
if you
big
kind of
long
condense
hiatuses.
everything,
And I used to just be at the mics drunk as shit constantly. And I'm a talker as is, but like you guys, most of you didn't really know me when I was partying. I was a talker, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I really networked, and Chris Screeva gave me some of the best advice when I first started, and Brandon Shell actually, to shout out that name too, because I don't want to forget which one of them really pinned this into me. But it was like, be funny, but like more importantly, like be nice to everyone.
Yeah.
Be nice to everyone, and like. Because that was big for me because I'm a dick on stage, you know? So I had to make sure people knew that wasn't exactly who I am. It's who I try to be up there, you know? And, man, just make friends with everybody you can. Time is a constant, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to keep going. You'll meet tons of people just by being nice to everybody.
Yeah. I can say, like, I got booked on this is obviously maybe specific to me, but when I started doing stand-up, it was 2019. I did a couple of mics, and then 2020 happened. Wait, what?
There's a chip on
Yeah,
your
you
shirt.
have a
There's a
chip on your shirt.
Oh, thank you for letting.
You have a chip on your shirt in the light of God in your eyes.
Thank you. No, so I started doing stand-up really online. It was 2020, and I was doing Instagram fucking live, Facebook live, Zoom shows.
Shoot me in the head.
No, seriously, yes. I died for your virtual comedy sins. You don't have to do that.
That is interesting to me that's where you started.
That is where I more or less started. That is more or less where I started.
You were also still in college.
I was still in college, yeah.
Right.
So I would go to quote unquote. I would mute my Zoom for my lecture, and I would be on like I'd be on Discord stuff, Instagram stuff, Facebook stuff. I would invite people. I got kicked off of Tinder because I solicited.
A minor.
Hannity, let me finish. Hold on. And then the audio cut. No, I was like literally like, hey, you want if you don't want to fuck me, you can also watch my Zoom set. And so like 2 or 3 members, anyways. So I would do stuff, especially on Facebook Live. I would record everything. I'd do everything, and so people kind of already knew. I literally was on a podcast today from a guy that knew me like 2 years ago from doing Zoom online stand-up. So, it just there's all sorts of ways you can get in people's heads, and not get in people's heads, but like people will remember you if you do certain things. I did stuff in the park. Blake Scala was one of the first guests I had on a park show.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I decided to just do drugs the whole
I
pandemic.
was gonna say I started before the pandemic for like 6 months, and then I couldn't do Zoom comedy. I couldn't do that to myself.
Well,
And
dude,
then-
I was talking about how having the light in your eyes affects my performance because I can't connect with the people. Dude, you want to talk about not being able to connect, like going on those Zoom shows, man. I got booked for like 4, and I think I canceled minutes before each one because I was just like, I'm not
it's terrible.
doing this.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
That sounds horrific. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I'm not
But
doing a chat
but-
roulette show.
I think one thing that helped me when I started, so we all know I didn't have a lot of dude friends before doing comedy here.
Word.
And I did a set that pissed a lot of people off. And like I don't stand by a few lines in that set. Most of it I do stand by still. Sorry. But I had this joke that said like dudes don't have real trauma because I was an angry lesbian at the time.
I love that.
And
it's true,
and
it's
I
true.
do like
We're tough.
I appreciated like
We are
it was
tough.
Zevon who told me. I was like, why won't this line work? And he was like, well, people still have trauma. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, okay. But
As a black man,
but-
I can tell.
but the thing was
on
that
POC.
I
Sorry,
pissed
minority,
off a lot of
minority.
people with that, so they knew who I was in like a hate way, but I was still talking to them outside of the mic, so they realized like there's just a disconnect between what's going on up on stage and what who she is off stage. So I think that like actually weirdly helped me because after I moved away from that like set and I was like, oh yeah, no, that was kind of fucked up, like it like helped me get known more in the comedy world, and then when I moved on from that, I started talking about porn, and that helped. So brought
Yeah,
everybody
because
back.
dudes are pro porn.
Yeah.
No trauma, pro porn.
Well,
I've
Hercules
had
are-
several times where a controversy did nothing but help me. Like, I said something really messed up that upset a few people, and it got people talking about me in general.
Hell yeah.
And then some people, there's one joke in specific that I had. How can I say this? It was very pro Chick-fil-A. Okay, it wasn't anti anything. It was very pro Chick-fil-A.
It's just tasty.
It was
tasty.
strictly about the chicken. Nothing else was even brought up. Okay, but
Strictly chicken. Trevor Austin.
Yeah. But there was some people who were like, and it was because I was new too. So people were like, "Who the hell do you think you are to get up there and just confidently yell that shit at an audience?" And I was like, I thought they liked chicken, but it drew like a weird little metaphorical line in the sand where some people were like, first of all, the joke is kind of fine. You know, it wasn't that heavy. It really wasn't. But it was obvious what I was getting at. Like, I was talking about the LGBT controversy with Chick-fil-A. But I tried to make it real vague. Like, I wasn't talking about that. And there were some people who were like, I think it's a funny joke. And there were people who were good people to know, man. Like, I got booked on a showcase at the Improv because that's how the person heard about my name. Because there was like a little Facebook fight about what had happened in that situation.
Amazing.
And because I remember coming home that night after I got kind of yelled at and being like, I'm never going to be able to perform again. Everybody hates me. And like slowly but surely a couple DMs trickled in and were like, explain to me what the hell happened. People were talking about it. And I would like be like, here's what happened. Here's the joke. And they were like, fuck that, dude. You want to be on my show? That's cool. And like, it was interesting how that went down.
In comedy, it pays to be evil. You can. There is
Well,
the Sith.
I think, like, especially when you're earlier on, you're just trying shit. And I think that's one thing that I didn't realize at that time, because I went to a mic where a bunch of people just kept using faggot on stage. And, like, it became, like, a running thing
Shout out
throughout
Parkway
the night.
Theater.
Yeah, it became a running thing throughout the night. But, like, the thing is I realized over time, like, Parkway is, like, my favorite mic. I think it's, truthfully, one of the most accepting, non-accepting mics I've ever been to.
It's fantastic.
But
that warms my heart. It really does.
It really, yeah, no. But I think, like, my whole point of the set was like, you can use that word if you actually have a point or the joke is actually funny. It just can't be cheap. And that was the whole idea of the thing.
Yeah.
And once I like kind of explained to people, like, this was what I was saying. I'm not being word police. Like, you know, you just have to have a point if you're really going to dive into that one. And I think it made people realize that, like, I actually think about what I'm saying on stage. And then once I moved away from it, it helped because, you know.
I'm so jealous of the three people I'm sitting with because you guys all have, like, potentially inflammatory shit you can say. Like, somebody can get mad at what you're... Nobody's getting mad at my fucking X-Men shit. It's like, you fucking hack!
Yeah, man.
You have an angry side to you, though. I've seen it. You got to pull that out. The wrongs that have been
the
done
grass
to you.
is always greener too, man.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like
That's
you have a very marketable product, dude. And like I do not always.
People are scared of me. There's genuinely people who are
with
scared
fear
of
in
me.
their eyes.
Yeah,
When
I get that.
When I first told a small South Asian comedian who recently moved to Pittsburgh
God damn.
about my criminal record, he literally side-eyed me and then walked out of the room with
my God.
continually side-eyeing me.
Dude,
Christ.
Logan and I went out to see a comedy show the other night, and it was me, Logan, Aaron Douglas, and I brought my brother. And we were walking to meet Logan, and this is so great because, like, my brother doesn't do stand-up, so he doesn't know the eclectic mix of people that you're getting ready to meet. And I was explaining to him who Logan was, and, like, hearing me explain Logan in a 7-sentence bio. And my brother was like, wait, what? Who are we getting ready to sit down with? I was like,
can I take a guess of? I want to just see if I hit any of the words. Okay, so he's got he's been arrested for terrorism, but he's a real great guy. Any of that?
There was I basically I was telling my brother because you're I'm not to be weird here. You're bi, right?
Yeah.
And I was like trying to explain that to my brother, and then he said he was like, "Wait, he's trans?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "No." Well, he was, but that was only when he was in jail. My brother was like, "Excuse me."
Dude,
like,
that is. I'm stealing that.
It was only trans in jail.
That is good.
My brother was like, "Wait, you need to start at the beginning of that and really break it down a little further." It was so funny, dude.
That is, yeah.
And then he was like,
good
"Wait,
shit.
what?" And I was like, "He's cool." That's what I
the end of the
said.
day,
He's
yeah.
cool.
He's cool. He's cool. That's what I fucking love about stand-up. It's just such a fucking motley crew. It's the worst Avengers team you've ever. It's literally like, you know, repeat offender, grocery guy, fucking pharmacist. It's just
Then there's like lawyer, you know.
yeah,
like,
there's actual lawyers. And,
Yeah, actual professionals.
yeah.
One thing on kind of on that note, touching on too, because we talked we kind of got to this topic, but with like the pandemic, I think one thing that we're all kind of benefiting from is like Pittsburgh comedy is just now starting to recover, like, and like I think because like there's a lot. Don't shoot in the mic, please. Anyways, like everything died during the pandemic. It was before my time, but Hambones died. Like a bunch of venues stopped being thing. The only thing that really was going on during the pandemic was Parkway to a certain extent.
Yes, dude.
And
Parkway
then-
is international waters.
And then, and then even at the beginning of 2022, when I was doing stand up, there was only like it was Parkway, it was Scarps, and it was like Willow Station.
Yeah.
There was like 3 or 4 mics. Now there's like almost like 12 mics a week.
Yeah.
And like there's also like comics coming back and like putting on shows. It's kind of like it was like when the Black Death happened, like everybody died, and then like people's wages went up after that because there's just less people to do work, you know.
Word.
And like I think we're all kind of benefiting from that, like making friends.
Yeah, we're
at this juncture.
experiencing the rainbow after the flood.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
much
Oh, yeah.
better analogy.
Yeah, but like, no, I get what you're saying, and it's been really interesting for if you were around before it, because it sounds like none of you guys were really around before it. I'm the elder statesman of the group.
Paint us the
So-
picture of Genesis. Yeah.
So in the beginning, the scene was slightly more gatekeepy.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say the scene has come back out of COVID better, because I love the old scene too. Like there are many times where I miss being at Hambones, even though Hambones was a place where I had to be like, I had to edit the shit out of my act.
Yeah.
But that's how fucking awesome Hambones was, that I was willing to do that. I was like, okay, I got to take this out because like I got to be there. It's so fun there. That's the best rooms. And it made me a better comic. It made me work harder because I was like, I need to get in here one way or another. And it was so different. And now it's come back. Some things are better. It's hard to explain. It's just different. Like it feels more accepting to someone who's on their first day. To start was harder then. Now to start, like there's so many people who are newer. There's no like. It used to be there's like 25 people who have experience and they're deciding who the hell does what. Now it's like there's people who don't have a ton of experience producing stuff that's good.
Yeah.
And just being like, I'll throw someone on that I just met the other night at Scarps, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Chuck Lewis, great guy.
No, he's fantastic.
Putting on the first roast in a while with Chuck this coming Friday.
Oh, that got moved to 9 p.m., just so everybody knows.
Yeah,
And we're
updated-
canceling the mic, and we're just doing the roast.
Good.
Yeah, I
Cool.
updated the
That's
poster.
probably better,
yeah.
And,
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and Chuck's gonna.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and changed all hand signs.
Well, no, that's a good point. Like that roast is all new comics. I mean, I say new. Yeah, I mean like young comedians. It's people organizing
Yeah.
it, people on it, people like that's us. We're just deciding, let's just do our own shit.
The oldest people in it are probably Peter Arsenault, who's been around since before me, who's fantastic.
Oh my god, yeah.
And Corey Henderson and myself. Those are probably like the 3 oldest people.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
true.
it's for me. It's something that I've been calling for, like at least in my own head, like kind of like the alt path.
And Vinny P.
yeah.
Oh,
Vinny
yeah.
P.
Is Vinny in the roast?
No, he didn't want to be.
Oh, okay. Well, then fuck him.
He didn't even sign up. But it's like it's kind of like for me like kind of not wanting to wait, I guess, until my dues are paid
Yeah.
in the comedy scene. Like the only other option is like the alt path, like putting on your own shows,
Making your own content.
trying to make social blow up.
Well, that's. I mean, it's. I think that is also a remnant of COVID comedy, because that was everybody not being able to go anywhere. This was old comics. This was new comics. This was everybody in between. There was nothing, and so these like Zoom shows. It was like I was on a show with Mark Normand, not Mark Normand. I misspoke. No, Mark Normand. I was about to say Norm Macdonald. I fucked that. Yeah, no.
Mark Norman is also massive. Yeah,
No, Mark Normand's
I
huge.
was on a show with Lenny Bruce.
Yeah, sorry, I misspoke. I meant
That's so wild, dude.
No, yeah. No, I was so it was like Mark Norman was I opened the thing, I hosted it, whatever, and then he was on one
Dude,
he was one of the
You
comedians.
got to put that on your comedy resume when you're applying to New York places.
Fuck
Opener
no.
for Mark Norman.
Zoom it asterisk Zoom opener. Yeah, no, but it was weird. It was
Yeah, if you're trying to make me think Zoom is cooler, like I refuse to budge on that,
no,
dude.
no.
I hate Zoom comedy,
No,
and like, fuck it, I'll put it on my resume.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Call him?
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I mean?
I guess, yeah, sure. No, but that's the thing. Like with not Pittsburgh, with COVID comedy, it opened up the venue to be like, okay, you can do stuff online, you can do stuff yourself. There really is no whatever, versus like, yeah, you go to an open mic for, I don't know, 10 years, and then maybe you get a late night spot at some blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like the path is so much
It's so much different.
wider, windier. You can do all sorts of shit.
Okay, so I'm sure there's mixed opinions on this person in this room, but what
bring
I'll
it.
say is, you
Name
know what
drop, name drop,
changed? You know
name
what
drop.
Don't name
changed
drop.
getting new in comedy was fucking Joe Rogan, dude. Joe Rogan's podcast
He's my Lord and
became
Savior.
a phenomenon. It created 50 offshoot podcasts from random comics who you probably would have never heard of because they weren't on fucking Colbert's night. There's no late night
late
comedy
night, yeah,
stand-up special
Conan,
thing.
yeah.
Comedy Central's Presents is not really a thing anymore. It led to Netflix is a joke or whatever.
Yes, yeah, Netflix
it
is
led
a
to like
joke.
Netflix being a
Joe
comedy
Rogan
staple.
turned into that. Wait, what?
I feel like he was like the linchpin that
Oh, yeah,
got all
I
these.
have,
Dude, every single dude you know.
Ari
that-
Shaffir. I know the line from Ari Shaffir. Ari Shaffir was the 4th guest ever on Rogan,
really?
and then he made his podcast the year after,
Mm-hmm.
and then from that podcast he started hosting that show where they would talk.
This is not happening.
Yeah, they would have a comic on and they would talk about like a serious or more topic.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
suicide,
Yeah.
whatever. And then from there, he got his first special, and he sold his special. Like the line from Trevor's hypothesis, that's like one example of like many.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
butterfly effect is now every time I meet a dude my age, he asks me if I do stand-up comedy and or jujitsu. So like, that's what happened from that. Dude.
And we have
The
Rogan to thank.
jujitsu world is really experiencing a
Speaking-
blow up too.
Shout out Stout PGH.
Very nice.
If you're thanks to our sponsor today, Stout PGH.
What is stout? Is that a beer or
It's a jujitsu.
It's a
do
jiu-jitsu.
you do jits, bro?
Jits?
I've done.
you jits bag? You jitting, man?
I like.
Yo,
I like,
don't fucking see my family if you jit. You fucking jitting right? I can get out the car. You're jitting. You're jitting in front of my kids. You fucking know.
Bro, can I borrow your gi?
Yeah.
Yo, you got some gi I can throw on my walk?
Yeah. Well.
That's so crazy, dude. But
I
like, it
I
definitely
Muay
is
Thai.
a thing.
I like
dude.
Muay Thai.
I think that it works that way for a lot of gay comics too, because God, what is her name? I watched a comic who she has the We're Having Gay Sex podcast.
Oh,
Jesus
but
But
Christmas.
it's got like 500,000 subscribers,
What
and
is
now
her
she's
name?
running around doing clubs.
and having
I
gay
mean,
sex.
I mean, yeah, but
Nice.
but like, I mean,
What is the name of the podcast?
We're having gay sex.
Yo.
They started out like every week. They're like, "Are you having gay sex?" And or
They ask
did you
everyone?
have gay sex this week or something like that? And then they just go from there.
Nice.
But
Wild, dude.
But I mean, like using podcasts to blow up, like there's so many. It is like there's so many ways to get booked, and like now
Oh, yeah.
she came through the Improv, and I went and saw.
That's
But like
this-
she's on the rise.
It
kind
also
of a thing.
drums up people that probably have no business. I mean, it's called an open mic for a reason. It is open.
That
But like
is-
you'll see people who'll be like, I watch these podcasts. You know what I mean? I love so
yeah.
many starters I talk to
yeah.
are like,
Yeah.
I love the podcasts, and like they get into it, and then they're just like, and literally I call them the jujitsu crew. Like,
Well, even with
The
like
jitters.
that and TikTok too, like or in Vine a bit as well. I mean, Derek Minto just opened up for Casey Frey at the Improv.
Yeah.
Which to me is fucking crazy.
yeah, Derek is a humble fucking dude. Because if you sit down and ever get like a long opportunity to talk to him and he is engaged in the conversation, he's open for a ton of people. He's
Oh,
worked
yeah.
at a ton of things. Like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's not one to like post it and brag about it and like
when
promote it.
when I first met him at Scarps, I thought he was just like another drunk chubby guy drinking a full flagon of
But
beer.
he's an impressive drunk chubby guy.
No, yeah. I mean, he's very. I like Trevor said, he's humble. You never know.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
just.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a-
What
and-
Derek
nice
Minto
guy.
did for Pittsburgh comedy, in my opinion, is more important than what any other person in the history of the city did for comedy. Like, it didn't exist until he turned Hambones into what was insane if you were there, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like for the level of comic that we are, it's like talking about the Comedy Store in the 80s.
Yeah, oh,
Like,
yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, you weren't here for Hambones in 2015,
jeez.
you know?
You see it's
like,
coming
it
back?
Was
That's-
crazy. Yeah, but
yeah.
it's going to be different.
Oh, yeah.
I'm skeptical, and I'm talking shit here. I know the guys who are opening it, and it's a fucking good group of people. They're taking out that stage wall that like a
Oh,
lot
no.
of, and like they're trying to make money off of business. I can't be like, no, man, that's going to affect the open mic night. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
they're like, we're trying to sell food.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
that's
What-
secondary.
What night was Hambones on?
Tuesday, Thursday?
Monday
Really?
and Thursday, and it was weird because Thursday was the night.
Yeah.
Monday was like WCW Nitro, and Thursday was like WWF Raw.
No, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Like Thursday was the night, dude, and Monday you kind of just like workshop shit. It was mainly comics. It was kind of like all the other mics.
Yeah.
It's so crazy how many mics are gone. Papa D's was
Dude,
a crazy one.
there was an open mic. Papa D's was my favorite place to drink underage.
But that makes sense, dude. It was my least favorite place to do stand-up comedy.
Well,
Yeah, I had some night. My first set ever was there. Holy shit, dude! I bombed so atrociously. I had one joke that I wrote that I thought was brilliant, and I was nervous to get up, so I drank, like, just a little to take the edge off. I had like 13, 14 shots. And got up there with one eye crossed all the way to the middle.
Hey, I'm Trevor.
I mean, I'll just tell it on the podcast because it's funny, but like, it's obviously so hack and so terrible. This was right when Harvey Weinstein got arrested.
Nice.
That was like the thing happening. Like, that was in the news. And I opened my set with the words, I feel bad for Harvey Weinstein. Dude, there were gasps. People were like, you feel bad for that convicted rapist? I had a whole joke about it that I was like, the joke was, I've jerked off on all those same actresses. I just had the decency to put a computer screen in between the two of us. Like, as though you're looking at their porn scenes.
Yeah.
You get it. It's gold. It's golden.
It's not bad.
I put that in my set.
It bombed so bad. So then I was like, go with your instincts. And I said, what do you guys want to talk about? Because clearly it wasn't that.
That is my biggest pet peeve in all
Oh, my
stand-up.
God, dude.
What are you guys? I've done it before. I'll be the first to say I've done it before in a moment of panic. But I hate when people say
that was Trevor's moment of panic.
Yeah,
That was-
It was so bad. And then I remember Brandon Johnson came up and talked to me afterwards. And I said,
oh, God.
I can't believe this is the same person that I am now. It was so funny. I said to him, I was like, well, I pissed everyone off pretty bad. At least I got a reaction. And he was like, that's not the reaction you want, dude.
Yeah.
And he was the only comic who was kind to me because everyone else was looking at me like, don't ever
Like
come
you're
back,
radioactive.
dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. It
Yeah.
was so bad. It was a nightmare. I give myself credit for continuing to come back. Like, that is a shameless human being that you were dealing with. Was 2018 Trevor was a shameless individual.
I had to win them all back too. I mean, we probably touched on it in episode 1, but when I was heckling before, this was before you came back, Trevor.
Yeah.
I came out to the comedy scene not knowing I even wanted to do stand up, and I heckled like the first 2 or 3 mics, and then everyone hated me for fucking months. Sivan was probably the first one that I had like a halfway nice conversation with, but then I accused him of roofing a girl.
You did do that.
Yeah,
You did do that at Parkway. That
Yeah.
I was just convinced that you were gonna be like a Joker like person, just show up back with like
Trevor's back.
lighting the place on
world's
fire.
fucked up,
and, like,
the world's fucked
Yeah.
up, and I'm tired of pretending it's not.
yeah, that was the energy of the first couple ones I saw. But then I was like, you showed up in the prison outfit, and I was like, you know what?
I'm doing that this Friday at the
Oh,
Comedy
hell
Roast.
yeah. I need to
hell
create
yeah.
a character
Oh, yeah.
to do for that. Because
should.
Logan and I are judges in that roast.
Oh,
so.
yeah, that's right.
Don Lazan or Bone Dog by itself is good.
Well, I have to wear Don Lasagna the next night, so
Oh,
I don't
true,
want to
true,
mess
true.
up my suit. So I don't know what I'm going to do, dude. But we're going to do some sort of characters for that. But it's interesting that you said that because I always talk about this. There's different kinds of hecklers. Okay, like there's
All
the
right.
drunk woman who's very lonely. And she wants to yell out because she wants someone to talk to her. And like that can sometimes be like a friendly heckle. She thinks she's helping.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I like that. I engage with that. Some people are because my shit's not hyper memorized. If your shit's hyper memorized and someone's heckling, like they don't realize they're fucking you up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like I'm trying to riff a little and have a little fun and be in the moment. So like I like that. Then there's the Logan Gattenby, we're going to name it from now on. The guy who wants to do stand-up but doesn't realize it. So he's like, I'm funny. I'm going to yell stuff out and be part of it.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
My drunken yell at Scriva. Scriva was the only one who liked it because Scriva lives off that shit too. I was like, fat man, when does the comedy start?
Got him.
I just said it over and over again.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
and-
And then there's the drunk, mean guy.
Oh, that guy. I get a lot of that. I don't get most of like the first 2. I get like the last guy.
The mean guy
Like,
who's
he'll-
like
Just
got the
like an
fight
asshole.
in his eyes.
He'll start like waving his arm like a
lasso?
air traffic controller. Like, get out of here!
Oh,
Get out of here!
Christ.
Bro, I've seen one time at Papa D's, I was doing really well and having fun, and he starts yelling out, we heard all this last week, and he was there with a pretty girl, and I'm telling you, that was what it was, because his girl was laughing at all the comics.
Oh, yeah.
And he needed to show that he could beat all these comics up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it was so bad. And I just kept ignoring it because he was yelling out, like, not funny. Wow. You could hear that with laughter. And I was like, well, I'll just focus on these guys. Because they think it's funny. And I was very new, didn't know how to handle it. And I got off stage and I was like, what the fuck was that? So then next up comes Aaron Douglas. Now, I've grown very close with Aaron Douglas. He's one of my best friends in the world. But what a lot of people may not know is he is Clint Eastwood reincarnated.
Yeah.
Clint's not even dead yet, but he's living again through Aaron.
Yeah. He's a tulpa.
This guy starts heckling Aaron, and Aaron stops mid-set, and he goes, you want to get up here and try it? And, like, dude, it got hot. Aaron was basically like, I'll whoop your fucking ass, dude.
Yeah.
And he had this look in his eyes that this guy backed right down, dude. He was like, oh, shit, I didn't know one of them was actually ready to throw, dude.
No,
Aaron's
Aaron's
a farm boy, dude.
No, oh, yeah. He's got that fucking hay bale strength.
So then Aaron goes right after he gets off stage, and he walks right past the guy, eyeballs him, stares him down, and Aaron leaves.
Nice.
Gets in his car, circles the block, comes back in because he forgot to close out his tab. So now he's got to walk right past the guy again and close out and be like, I left my card here. But like
that is a Douglas move.
Yeah,
we became really close after that because I was like, damn, like his heckling wasn't as bad for Douglas. It was really bad for me, and it was like he was standing up for me.
Yeah.
And like, again, it speaks to what I talk about. Like, the most important thing when I have a bad set, and I'm like, I should quit. I fucking hate this, because I've started to take comedy more seriously, and like, I want to begin to monetize it, and like, I've got a lot of 2023 goals. And then I'll forget, like, you're gonna quit because you're frustrated, or you had a bad set, or you're down on this. Like, the only goal I had when I really started was like, I just want to make some friends. I'm continuing to achieve that every day, like mission accomplished. You know what I mean? I try to remind them that. Yeah,
we got him. We got him.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's another topic. This is something I've thought a lot about. 2023 goals, and we all have on this little podcast. We have little goals we're trying to keep each other accountable to. Mainly, our biggest goal, or my biggest goal, is I want to film my first special by the end of this year, like 45 minutes.
Whoa, dude!
100%. What about for you? What are your 2023 goals?
Sorry for my reaction.
No.
And I just want to shit on that, bro.
Yeah.
You want to film your whole first 45-minute special?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
shit on. No, I 100% shoot me down.
Yeah, why not shoot for the stars? Let's say you fall short and you end up with a ridiculously cool 15-minute piece that's filmed. That's a great thing to fall short.
Yeah,
so, like, I like the idea of a lofty goal like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that 5 years from now, when you do put out a killer 1-hour special, you're going to look back and say, Trevor, why did you let me put out that 45 minutes of beginner's garbage, you know? Because I have nights where I feel like I crush, and I look at the film back from a year and a half ago even, and I'm I did really well that night. The audience liked me, and why did I think this was good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And you'll always have that. Like, you keep getting better.
Yeah.
So, like, I know how funny you can be, and I'm like, let's. I'm a perfectionist in that sense, where I'm like, let's fucking put out something that's gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking stingy about what I put out. I have like 1 5 clip that I have.
I'm not that way. The only thing that my goal for doing this, or like the reason why I would want to do it now, is the thing I'm actively writing for it. It's called like Not Getting Away with It, and
it's a good name for your special.
Yeah, and it's about jail, and like I kind of want it to be like a performance about that while everything's still fresh.
Bro, let's film it at the Allegheny County Jail.
Dude, that would be awesome.
Like
that
Johnny
would be
Cash.
No, who's Johnny
bang,
Cash?
bang,
I've never even heard
bang,
of such a thing.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yes, like Johnny Cash. God damn it. 2023 goals. I want to just monetize this thing. Like, I've already had 8 booked shows in January. Like, I'm cool about that. Like, I came back from my mental health crisis, you know, and I'm feeling like I'm starting to just try to take it more seriously. I want to develop more of an online presence. I want to start this podcast I've been talking about starting for like 3 or 4 months now, and like I've got a lot of the pieces in order, but I want it to be
good,
something I'm proud of. Yeah, I don't want it to just be like I'm doing it to do it. And
do you want,
maybe I'm at fault in that. Maybe I should start putting shit out and it'll get better as it goes.
Do you want to tease the idea of the podcast, or under wraps for now?
I mean, I've talked about it on other things. Yeah, it's basically I think I'm going to do a one-man show.
Okay.
And there's going to be a lot of like don't want to say reaction videos because it's not what that is, but it's going to be like commentary, and I have like a video set up where there's videos and then commentary, videos then commentary, and
like a live stream kind of way.
It's going to be more of like it's going to be a full produced show. Like I'm trying to work with Corey Brennan on it, and we've been in talks about it because he has a really good studio where you can put up video in the corner.
Yeah,
and like he called it. He was like, I want you to be like an alt-right Bill Maher.
Oh my God!
And I was like, I'll really have a hard time getting into character for that. You know,
you gotta have the Don Lazon slick back for that.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna try to make it into like a production of sorts like that. So like, I was gonna wear a suit for every episode, shit like that.
Oh, nice.
So like, we're gonna try to really do something interesting, unique in that sense. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna have one other person on the podcast, a la like the way Tim Dillon has done it for years, where it's like it's the Tim Dillon show, but there is someone to sound shit off of because it'll be easier for me to be conversational with one other person in the room.
Yeah,
and
yeah, a fat guy.
So
a fat guy.
It's that's just one thing. I've started trying to get more video of sets and do little, even if I'm just putting out 30-second clips and reels. I just did that for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing is I want to write 20 clean, usable minutes. Right now I have 43 seconds.
Clean, like not blue, or clean isn't just like good, like
no,
polished.
Like, and that's such an interesting thing of like what is clean.
Yeah.
And for someone like me, it's different than for someone like you, for example.
Yeah.
Because for me, clean can still be like swearing, but I don't have anything that's like extreme.
Yeah.
or
like
you know
political,
what I mean? Like,
or
yeah. Nothing that's like super divisive, heavy-handed. Something that can work in every room, even if it's not like PG. It's still something that's like
general audience.
And what helps me is like just write about you, you know. So rehab shit, whatever. Like, but even that, I'll notice like I say the most extreme sentences. Like it's just like I cannot help but say, to me, like extremes are funny, you know.
Yeah.
And I want to be more cautious of that. So I've got a lot of different comedy goals, and so far, like I said, I've had 8 paid shows in January alone, and then I have stuff booked in February. I have stuff booked in March. So just be more bookable, develop an online presence.
If you want me to make a website or do any branding for you.
Yeah, I'm going to need stuff like that.
Yeah, I do. For my friends, 100% free. For my friends, 100% free, except for...
Because you're my friend, I'll do it for 4/5 commission.
Yeah. We're going to set a precedent where Logan has to make every single guest a website. Like, we're going to be on episode 12, like, I'll make one, like... 2 paid Facebook ads. I don't know. I'm so tired. That's good. That's good shit.
So Yvonne, George, do you guys have 2023 goals? Or are you just living in the mire?
Are we just floating around?
Falling in your own gravity?
God, no. Well, you can go ahead, George. I feel like you have more concrete, like, do.
Yeah,
things.
we've already talked about yours. They're fantastic.
What, talking about being a lesbian less? No.
Yeah, man, everybody can get behind that.
Yeah.
No, but
Quit that.
I do want to have like a solid, clean, like 10 to 15 that I can actually do anywhere. Because I did an 8-minute clean, quote unquote, set in New Jersey in December.
Yeah.
And I was like going through my jokes and I was like, I guess you can clean this up. And like some of the lines actually worked kind of better if I didn't use like cheaper words. So I was like, maybe if I just try to explore some new topics, kind of make a more palpable set, I think it would help overall. Because I used to use this cop out that I wasn't a good enough comic to write clean. Like I had to go with dirty things. I had to go with funny things about my life. Like, and I feel like I can't keep using that as an excuse.
Yeah.
Like I have to be able to push past that.
Well, when you start, you're not a good enough comic to write dirty either.
Right,
you know?
right,
But
yeah.
then you start practicing it and you get good at it. So it's the same thing of like just jump in the pool and start swimming. And what I was getting at when I said like we have similar goals in that sense is like to broaden horizons.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a big thing for
branch
me
out.
because I've like could feel myself last year. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to do some pride shows. Like, and last night I did a queer show. It was a great crowd. It was really fun. But like, I want to be able to have that feeling in all rooms and not just in front of a gay audience who's already like into what I'm talking about. You know, because there's no way to become like. I know there's a lot of lesbian comedians that can they've gotten big. They can travel around and it's a room full of lesbians at the Improv, like that kind of thing. But you have to be able to get past the hurdles before that.
Yeah.
to get to that point. And
Yeah.
so that's why I want to like just find ways to talk about other things.
I've had to turn down opportunities for church shows, rehab shows, shit like that I would like. Why turn down the money? And like I said way in the beginning of this is like the sound of laughter is what you're after. Whoa, that rhymed. It was sick. Bars. Fucking yeah.
Hey,
But
the
Title of
sound
the
of laughter.
podcast.
That's
I might just have to
after.
rename the podcast, dude. The sound of laughter is what you're after.
It's the
Because,
episode
like,
title for sure.
Those people may be different than me and they may have different views than me, but like I want them to feel that spiritual joy that is laughter, and you can bring it to anyone.
If God didn't want us to laugh, why would he make it?
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
way.
Why
It
would he have
feels
made
so
me?
good?
Yeah, dude. I used to say the same thing about the poppy plant.
No, it's yeah.
If God didn't
Well,
want
hold
us to
on.
do it, why would it make you feel so goddamn good?
Why does it make
That
me
was for
feel so
bagels.
good?
You guys, that was just for.
It was just
This is
for
God in his office. Like that was just bagels and that one scene in Wizard of Oz. You guys took it way.
It's like, have you ever tried eating them?
Yeah,
You don't
they're
have to snort them. Just eat them.
God, they're so good.
All right. Well, I think we got about 5 minutes left on the podcast. So is there any topics anybody else want to bring up? I know I'm a little bit of a chatterbox, so I'll just be a little bit more quiet. I'm a little jitterbug over here.
Oh well. No, I mean, I honestly got everything. I was super happy to hear about specifically musical comedy because I don't really know much. I have a few musical comedy friends from my younger days, but that's it. So
One thing Trevor talked before we started was memorization. That's something actually I've been
yeah.
doing about. I've made a another one of my 23 goals. I'm never using notes ever again
wow.
for open
Okay.
mics, for shows, for anything. Just I
Did
think it's a dirty habit.
Did
that
that
we all need to
St.
break.
Clair heckler get to you?
No,
No,
he-
he was like yelling by
He
the end of the
he only
mic.
heckled Blake.
Oh,
It
I
was-
know who you're talking
No,
about.
it was
I
Scriva.
started-
It was Scriva said I did a show. I did Vinny's show. He just brought me up, and and then Scriva was like, "I think you're ready to get off notes." Like
Mm.
Yeah.
that piece of paper in your hand, you hardly looked at it. You didn't. and when-
Depending on what
yeah.
I'm doing, like if it's something I'm familiar with, but also like then I'm like I really want to hammer this new thing out, and it's just a mic. Who gives a shit? So I'm more okay with it. But like the presentation aspect of it is bad, and like you talked about, I'm not getting booked on shows. Drop the notes, and it changes how you're viewed.
That's true.
It
That's
does.
very true.
That was a big shift for me in the beginning because I used to read everything word for
Yeah.
word, and then
Oh,
finally they
no.
were like, "Georgia, you can just set the phone down, like
Yeah.
put it down," and it helped. But
Put
I
the gun
still,
down, Georgia. Put the gun down.
I still like a set list on stage with me because
Yeah.
I need to, like you said earlier, hyper memorize. I need to hyper memorize my bits that I'm running on shows,
Yeah.
and but the other thing is, if I'm running new material, I need some notes. Like
It's
I just
weird too how it just having it there is like a safety net, and I'm less likely to need it. And if I
Yes.
don't have it, all of a sudden I forget.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
like
yeah.
you know what's really crazy is Carlin. Listen to your next George Carlin thing and be like, whoa, I never thought of it from this. But like, that is all so word for word.
Yep.
He used to get up with a notepad and read the entire fucking thing, like on paid. Like you'd see him at a theater and he'd be reading it because he's working for his next thing he's going to put out on
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
And he would read it like a
Like a
terrible
speech.
politician. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like a really bad eulogy.
Well, because
You know?
and I think that's kind of like not to overinflate how I felt about myself at the beginning, but like I wanted each word that I was saying to matter,
Yeah.
and like I think that's fine to do, but I think like at the level that we're all at, like it's better to kind of like find it along the way for some
Yeah.
people. I don't know.
And I think memorization is like a muscle, like that you can work out every day. Like Sir Anthony Hopkins, one of his famous things he does is he memorizes a poem every day to keep his mind sharp.
Oh yeah.
And so by the end of the day, he wants to be able to do it like without looking or whatever.
Yeah. No, I think.
I think it's just the exercise.
I mean, for me, yeah, I definitely have gotten better. Like, I'll usually write like 5 punches for one joke. Like, I'll usually have 5 different ways I can take it and 5, kind of transitions or whatever. And so for me, I have gotten better about like, okay, this night I'll do this one night I'll do that one, or I'll be on a show and I'll like see that the audience really likes, okay, this shit. Okay, if I punch it with this,
Yeah, it's
they'll
organic
like that.
in that
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And then what I'll catch myself doing though is with newer shit, I'll be like, okay, I did that joke and it worked and people liked it. But I'm in the car being like, fuck, it's supposed to start with this one. I did that line last because I forgot it. And just like, oh, I'll throw this other line in.
Yeah.
And I'll do it in a different order every night whenever I know there's one order that works best for it. And I couldn't do the callback because I forgot all. Like, that's what happened to me
Wouldn't
last
make
night.
any
That
sense.
is
Yeah.
that is exactly what keeps happening because I'm trying to work in new jokes to an existing set, and like the solid like 10, 15 that I have is in my long term memory, right? Like
Yeah.
I can start start those bits, but it's when I start to go to tweak it at that point that I just fuck with myself, and I will do it when right before a show where I'm like, oh, hey, I tested this at a mic the other day. Like, got to make sure that tag gets in there. And then I will completely forget, like,
Last
the
night,
rest.
I have been forgetting a specific tag from this joke that I want to use. So I was like, I am not forgetting that tonight. I did the tag and forgot the rest of the joke.
That is exactly what I did. I dropped an
Okay,
entire
mission
minute
accomplished.
by being like, oh, I said green flag. Great job, Georgia.
Yeah.
And then just launched, like, pole vaulted over, like a minute and a half of my set. And yeah, it's frustrating.
One of the things I've tried doing is not giving, because but I think like everybody, the most common sense thing to do is try to memorize the titles of your bits. And then you walk through them.
Yeah.
What I've been trying to do is memorize the tags that I want to get to in the bits. Because like if you have the tag memorized, like you know what the title is already.
You can like reverse engineer it.
Yeah, so like there's like my DUI roller coaster joke. The tag I wanted to get to is like being antisocial. I don't value life, but I value experiences. So I like sitting shotgun into a DUI like that.
I really like that whole thing. It's going to be good when it's done.
So but I was trying to remember like antisocial. Just that tag. Then I don't need to remember like the title of the joke, DUI roller coaster. You know?
I mean, it's writing every day. It's practicing. It's going to mics. The last thing that the least favorite thing I do, but this makes everything like 45% better, is just rehearsing. I will record myself, and I used to go for, like, when the weather is warm, I'll go for walks, and I'll just say the bit over and over and over, and then I'll listen to it over and over and over, and then
I can practice like a individual joke if I'm driving in the car.
Yeah, the car.
But
I crush in the shower.
But I
Dude,
can't.
that shampoo is your biggest fan.
I can't make it through like a 10-minute set of just me saying it to the wall.
It's so awkward.
Because along the way, I will be like, oh, why didn't I see this? Like, this should be here. And then you just start, like, picking it apart instead of just doing the thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like, I have, like, a couple friends that, like, literally before a show, I'll be like, hey, can I run through my set to you? And they'll be like, yeah. Like, that helps. I don't know. It helps to have like another person, at least so that it keeps me like I have to get through it.
Yeah,
like,
when I practice at home like that, I'll be like, I'll go off on an imaginary crowd work rant and be like, oh, that would be sick when I do that later tonight. You know, like,
God, I hope someone
so
says
much
that.
Of that. And then like,
God, I hope there's someone with a green shirt in me. Oh fuck, where my green shirts at? Where my fucking green shirts at?
But no,
why would you put me on a show no green shirts?
Like, I'll go down like a fucking rabbit hole, or if I mess up one thing, I'm like, fuck me, like, and to just like halt the whole thing. And I don't know, it just helps to have that. Like, I really look at mics as a practice.
Right on stage,
yeah, and I think like I like writing new bits by myself, like in my house. You know, that is fine to me. But I feel like it's playing with them on stage with a crowd that like makes all of it significantly better.
Yeah, it's like a ball.
I write in conversation. I write outside at Scarps, talking shit with each other, and then like something will come up and you'll have a good line, and you're like, that's where that's got to go.
Literally, some of my best jokes are like just shit I've been talking with comics outside, and I'm like, damn, I gotta write it down. Like,
so many of my jokes too are like the words of other people, like not like just like not stealing their jokes.
But like people
the way they describe you, like, oh yeah, that they put more succinctly, like you just said earlier, like, he's trans. Well, he was, but only in jail.
Yeah,
like that's such a good summary of.
I use a thing that Skywalker gave me, and like as soon as he said it to me, I was like, "Please, that's mine right now." Like, because he was talking about random shit to say on a date that would be insane, and like that's that line I have about. Last year I did 60 days in county for stealing propane. That was Sky roasting me, and I was like, "Oh, that's going in the act. That's so good." And he was there the first time I did it, and it crushed. And like, he was such a proud papa. Like he was in the way back of the room. There was like 200 people, and I was just like right at him when I said it, and it was dude. Felt like when the janitor sees Rudy finally run out onto the field and gave like 3 hard claps.
Well, on that. Ending with somebody with special needs. Trevor, where can the people find you on
follow
socials?
me on Trevor Austin Comedy at Instagram, and I guess on TikTok now. I started my first reel, dude.
I'll follow you right after this. We can TikTok
please do
friends.
follow all that shit, and just be on the lookout. I have a show tonight. This isn't coming out today.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
Okay,
No.
so yeah, you guys will miss how great I do tonight. But you know what?
Parkway Theater.
Parkway Theater every Friday night. If you're a comic who's listening to this, come. And it's, in my opinion, it's the best mic to get started at.
100%.
Because
Absolutely.
Scarps will eat you alive. Willow Station is too quiet. They'll actually hear how bad you are. You know what I mean? Like, as far as mics go to get started, Parkway is like the most, like you said, it's like the most welcoming.
It was my rock of
Yeah.
starting comedy. I looked forward to it every Friday.
Yeah, you also got to have thick skin.
Yes.
you know? And
Well, you
it's-
learn how to be a comic there.
You really do. I love that about it. We've tried so hard to cultivate a culture there that is like, we are going to be so mean to you to let you know that we love you.
You're our little alt-right family. You know, our alt-right family. Okay, brave listeners, you can find me at Gatsonby on Instagram and also Oogie Loogie on TikTok. Probably going to merge those tags together eventually. Zevon, where can the people find you?
You can find me, Zevon Vasquez, on Facebook.
It's Quez?
Well, Kez. It's
Okay,
Kez.
I've been
No,
saying
you're
Kez.
good. You're good.
I've been saying Zavon, too.
Oh, like,
That's
It sounds so good.
You should start using Zevon is way cooler.
Zavon. You guys are only saying that because you guys are from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's like
You're
Stefan
fucking-
Urkel whenever Stephen
when he
Urkel would
changes into-
change.
yeah, it goes
dude,
into
that's
the-
Zavon, dude.
Dude, I'm
That's you on a date, dude.
oh,
Zavon.
Zavon.
Warder, where can they find you?
Georgia Warder, Instagram and TikTok.
That's much better than my
Okay.
branding.
Well, no, wait. My Instagram. I have to say my Instagram.
Okay.
My Instagram is Zyvan_the_terrible.
Jesus Christ.
I love how it's Zyvan, Zevon, and Zavon.
Yeah.
There's three of them, dude.
Those
like,
are your three.
Zyvan.
Pick
Those are
one
your
for your
personality-
brand.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pick
it's
one.
Ivan the Terrible?
Right.
Shit, dude, I never got why it was. I was
Yeah.
reading it as Zevon the Terrible.
I mean, it is. Yeah, it's
Well, that's
my
also,
name.
That's
but
also true. That's also true. All right. Well, I think the name of this episode will be Zevon and his piglets. We'll also find a way to shoehorn Trevor Austin comedy into there as well.
yeah.
All right. You can find us on. I think I'm going to post this to Apple Podcast, Spotify. We have a YouTube at Comedyinz. That's spelled Comediyinz.
Word.
And I will be editing this, and it should be out within 5 days. And then we're gonna make all the prior episodes. We're gonna bust them out right now. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have been great. Trevor, thanks so much for coming on. We'll be sure to have you on in the future, and I'm sure I'll be on your podcast when that happens.
Oh, 100%. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right, we can go back to hating each other now.
Bro, anytime I'm